Hey, all right, we made it through our first full week of class. So I hope you're kind of getting in the rhythm of things. You kind of know what to expect from here on out. Our first exam is coming up in the not too distant future. So what I want to do first off this week, and you've got a while to do this, but I have set up a practice exam. So in this class, I know I've mentioned this before, we're going to use a program called Respondus Lockdown Browser to take exams in here. Even if you have taken online classes before, even if you've used these in the past, the lockdown browser in the past, I want you to go ahead and do this. I've had some students who just skip it and say, I know how to use the browser. Make sure you do that in this class. Number one, I'm going to make it worth 5 bonus points, so that'll help you out. But number two, and this is the big one, I've talked to a lot of students that apparently there are several instructors at the college that don't review the videos when they're done. I mentioned this, there's a video I want you to watch before you take the exam, the practice exam. But I've mentioned that I've had students like flat out cheat, like taking the test like this the whole time, phone in front of them. And I'll call them on it and you get a 0 for the test when you do that. And they'll say, man, I didn't realize anyone watched this. I've done this in the past in other classes. That's one reason that we're doing this practice exam is just I want you to be really clear on these are the steps you have to do to make sure you get credit. Number two, though, just forget about cheating for a little while. If you've never taken a test with the Respondus Lockdown Browser, I know that can be intimidating. The first test in a class can be kind of scary anyway. So this practice exam will just let you know what you're going to have to do before you take the test, give you kind of an idea of all the steps you need to go through. All right. It's easy. You don't have to practice for this. They're literally going to be questions like, what year is it and how many letters are in the word biology? So you do not have to study to get ready for this. All right. That's the good news. That is going to be due next Tuesday. We're off on Monday for Labor Day. So I'm not going to be able to be back here until Tuesday. So I'm going to give you until then to do that. Complete it as soon as you can, though, because there's a lot of students in this class. So if you'll do it early, I can go ahead and start reviewing them ahead of time. Once you have submitted your practice exam, I'm going to review it, make sure there weren't any issues. If you're good, I'll give you 5 bonus points. If there was a problem, I'll send you a message and I'll say, hey, you skipped this step. Can you redo it real quick just to make sure you can do it the right way? All right, so there's that. You have a lecture to watch this week, so the Chapter 19 Systematics and Phylogeny lecture. I know that sounds awful. It sounds like a headache. It's really not that bad. Systematics and phylogeny is just the study of naming and grouping organisms, and it's going to have a lot of the stuff we talked about in Chapter 1 and Chapter 15. We're going to talk about it again here. We're going to talk about like scientific naming and the different domains and kingdoms and phylums and so forth. So there will be new information, but some of this you'll have seen already, so it's not terrible. Don't let that name scare you at all. Watch that lecture, and then Sunday, September 6th, you've got a review quiz that's due. It's open now. You can take it whenever you want to, but you have until Sunday to do that. These little review quizzes are only 5 points, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but at the end of the semester, they really do add up. That can absolutely make a letter grade difference if you don't do these. So make sure you do the review quizzes. And then finally, big thing this week is that our first lab assignment is due. This one is on research and the scientific method. That's something we talked about in Chapter 1. So what I want you to do is go to the lab section. Hopefully, you've had a couple weeks too already, but hopefully you've done the startup sequence where you've signed up for your HOL Cloud account. You have done the getting started activity and the lab safety activity. Remember, those are prerequisites. So if you haven't done those yet, you're not going to be able to start on Lab 1. All right. Number 2, you have to have your lab kit. I know I stressed that at the beginning of the semester, but you have to have your lab kit. Since this is our first real lab activity, there's a code on the outside of your lab kit. That's your access code or your kit code. So you're going to have to enter that code before it unlocks your lab activities. All right, so you have to have that. You can't not get a lab kit and expect to get any points for these. Like you won't even be able to see the instructions and you won't get to where you can write answers if you don't have a lab kit. All right. So just make sure you enter that in before you'll have to do that before you can start the lab. All right. There's a step in this lab where it asks you to get body measurements from 30 different individuals. Now, obviously, like right now is probably not the best time to go up real close to people and say, let me measure you real quick because of social distancing and all that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a message that kind of explains what I'm doing, but I'm going to give you my body measurements for height, wingspan, and then like some arm measurements. And then what you can do is just click reply all. It's going to blow up everyone's messages in here, but it'll be okay. Reply all, add your measurements. It's asking for 30 students, and we have more than 30 students in this class. So if everyone will reply, you can even like measure family members and share their results if you want to. We can get these results really easily, and you won't have to go out and like ask strangers if you can measure their forearm, which might be kind of weird. So we'll do that instead. All right, so I think that's got it. If you have any questions, I say this every week, but really, if you've got any questions, if you're not sure how to do an assignment, let me know. I think that's about it. Y'all have a good weekend. All right, so I guess it's time for you to know that I've got like a weird hobby. So I like to run, which isn't that weird, but I like long distance, like ultra marathons. So we can file this under. It seemed like a good idea at the time. I signed up for a 12-hour race. It's at a farm in Georgia somewhere. It's like a 2-mile dirt road track that we run on through the trails and everything. And you've got 12 hours to just keep running for 12 hours and see how many miles you can get. And so from 2 p.m. on Saturday to 2 a.m. on Sunday, I'll be doing that. And it looks like it's going to rain pretty much the whole time, so that should be fun. So if I'm dead or die of sickness or something like that, that's what happened to me this weekend. Maybe your weekend will be a little less stressful. You're a captive audience, so I guess I was just going to share that with you whether you wanted to hear it or not. But that's it. If you got any questions, let me know, and I'll be glad to help. And talk to you soon.